Let's now see separation of mixtures. Many mixtures contain useful substances which are mixed with unwanted materials, which we call impurities. Scientists use different methods in order to get the things they want and leave away the things they don't want, those which we call impurities. The method you use for separation depends on what is in the mixture and what the different things are like. Let's see some methods which are used. Now, just imagine you are at the beach and you have the mixture of sand and water. The sand will settle down at the bottom because it is heavier. Now, that process where the sand settles down is what we call sedimentation. And this is the first step. Let's see others. The next step is what we call decantation. This is like carefully powering off the water while making sure you leave the sand at the bottom. Let's now see the decantation process. As you can see, we have sand and water mixed. This first step is what we call sedimentation. The sand has settled down or at the bottom below water. Now, if you want to separate them, you can perform a process called decantation. This is what decantation actually means. You pour water in another vessel, as you can see from the screen. You must pour it gently so that you don't disturb the other liquid. As you can see, that is what we call a decantation process. Just pouring water slowly without disturbing the sediments. Now, once you have already poured, you can wait a little bit so that the sediments can settle again. Remember, if you disturb the sediments, they will mix with the pure water you want. So you need to wait a bit so that it can settle down. Once it has settled down, you can start pouring again to finish the decantation process. The sediments or the solid particles which remain at the bottom are what we call sediments. Just keep watching. Hope you have enjoyed how it is done. Decantation process works well if the sand particles are big. If the particles are small, it might become a challenge. So, in summary, decantation is a way to separate sand and water when you only want water and you don't need sand. It is a way to get what you want from the mix. Now, in your exams, you might be required to draw a well-labeled diagram of decantation process. This is what you should draw, so just watch it. Now, just imagine you have a mixture of small solid particles with the liquid. They are just floating above the liquid, and you want to get out those liquids. How can you do it? Now that comes in the concept of filtration. You will need a special paper like a super thin hull called filter paper. What you do is just to pour your mixture into the filter paper, and something magical will happen. Let's now have a look on the filtration process. First, you need to fold the paper. As you can see, you make a conical shape, as you can see there. Then you can put it just over the beaker. Then you just pour your messy mixture, as you can see. So the liquid or the clean liquid will pass through the filter, while the remaining particles will be at the top. The liquid passing is called filtrate, and the one remaining is the residual. Now, as you have seen from the previous video, the liquid goes through the small holes in the paper and comes out clean. We call that clean liquid the filtrate. But what is left behind the paper? Those are the small solid particles that couldn't get out through the holes. We call them residuals. Therefore, filtration is just like a super sieve separating solids from liquids, those small solid particles. So it is just like a magic for a messy mix. When you are required to draw a well-labeled diagram of filtration process in your exams, this is what you should draw. So make sure you watch it carefully. Now let's see the concept of evaporation. Just imagine you have a glass of salt water and you want to get the salt back. How can you do it? Well, you can heat to make it happen. What you will need is that you will need to gently heat the glass of salt water, and as it gets warmer, something interesting will occur. Okay, let's see evaporation in action. This is the practical illustration of how evaporation takes place. As you can see, we have water mixed with the salt. As we keep boiling the mixture, water is reducing in size. You can see this is because of evaporation. Water will evaporate in the air, leaving out the small particles of salt. As you can see in the vessel there, yes, now you can see we have only the solid particles remaining, which we call salty particles. That is evaporation. Now, as you have seen from the previous video, water slowly disappears, turning into small, invisible water vapor in the air. But what is left behind? That is right, it is the salt. It doesn't go anywhere. It just stays in the glass at the bottom. So, in simple terms, we can say that evaporation is just a trick where you use heating to make the liquid evaporate into air, leaving behind what you want in the first place. When you are told to draw the diagram for evaporation process, then you can draw this diagram. So make sure you watch it carefully so that you can draw it. Let's now see about the distillation process. Distillation is just like a special way to clean and separate things in a mixture. Its main purpose is to get pure water. Okay, just imagine if you have a mixture that you want to separate into different parts. In order to do that, you can use a process called distillation. First, you will need to heat the mixture. When you heat that mixture, one of the things in the mixture will turn into vapor, and it will go through a distillation column. Now, here is the interesting part. The vapor will go into the distillation column, and then it will get cold. When it gets cold, it will change back into a liquid. And this liquid is called the distillate. It is the clean or pure water and a separate part of the mixture. There are two types of distillation. The first one is simple distillation, and the second one is fractional distillation. Let's explore more. Now, just imagine you have a mixture of water and mud, and your intention is that you want to get pure water from the mud. You can use simple distillation. Now, here is what you will do. First, you will heat the mud water, just like when you boil water to make tea. The heat will turn the water into vapor, and then it will rise up. Now, the water will go into the condenser. This is just like a special cooling system. In the condenser, the water vapor will cool down and then turn back into liquid. What you will get at the end is what we call clean water. And it is not only clean, but also pure water. This is because the mud will stay behind it. So, simple distillation is just like a magic trick that turns dirty water into clean water. It is a great way of getting pure liquids from mixtures.